Tricia Bear from the Culinary Command Post, and today we're making orange cranberry cookies. So the ingredients we have is going to be 1 cup of sugar, the brown sugar, which is half a cup, 2 sticks of butter, 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of orange zest, orange juice, and then a little bit of orange extract. And then that's the wet ingredients, and then we're going to put in the dry ingredient, which is our flour, 2½ cups of flour, our baking soda, which is half a teaspoon, and our salt, which is also half a teaspoon. And then we're going to add in, today instead of using walnuts, which you can use any nut you want, we're going to add in cinnamon pistachios, about 1 cup, and then 2 cups of cranberries. I'm using dried cranberries, but you can use fresh ones. And then for the icing on top is going to be the cinnamon pistachio nuts, powdered sugar, which is 1½ cups, half a teaspoon of orange zest, and then 3 tablespoons of orange juice. And you can add 8 ounces of softened cream cheese if you like. I think it tastes better with that cream cheese. So if you want to add that, you can. Now we're ready to mix the ingredients. So we're going to add our sugar and our butter first, our softened butter. So we've got our sugar, brown sugar, 2 sticks of butter, which is basically 1 cup of butter, and it's softened. And we're going to mix that up first, and then we're going to add our egg. Okay, and then now we're going to add our egg first. Let that mix up, and then we'll add our orange zest and our orange juice. Okay, so now we're mixing our dry ingredients together, which is our flour, which is 2½ cups of flour, our baking soda, which is half a teaspoon, our half a teaspoon of salt, and I'm just going to use a whisk to mix it together really fast. And then we're going to add our dry ingredients to our wet ingredients. Just like that. And I'm going to add a little bit at a time so flour doesn't go everywhere. Okay, now that we've got them all mixed up, all we need to do is use a 1-inch scoop to scoop them onto our cookie sheet. It's going to be ungreased cooking sheets. Okay, so we're going to have 1 scoop. We're going to put them on here about 2 inches apart. I'm going to go ahead and scoop them out and put them on here, and then we'll roll them. And you could just drop them on there, but I do like to roll them so they all look the same. I'm on my last scoop. So here's my last scoop. And then I do have a cooling rack over here that we're going to use. The reason you use a cooling rack once you get them out of the oven is so they cool for 5 minutes, enough to solidify to put them on the rack. And then you put them on the rack so they're not hard. They're going to be harder if you do not use a cooling rack. Okay, so we're rolling them up, and we're going to put them in the fridge for about 30 minutes. And we've got the oven preheated at 375. And we're going to cook the cookies about 12 minutes. And once we get them out of the oven, we're going to put them on the cooling rack. After they set for 5 minutes, we'll put them on the cooling rack. So that way your cookies don't get as hard if you take them off your baking sheet after 5 minutes. That's the whole point of the cooling rack. All right, that's how you make orange cranberry cookies. We're going to put them in the fridge. So we have the cookies in the refrigerator chilling before we put them in the oven. So we're going to make our icing, which is an orange cream cheese icing. So we're going to do 1½ cups of powdered sugar, 1 with 3 tablespoons of orange juice, a half a teaspoon of orange zest, and I'm going to add just about a tablespoon of orange zest because I like to have the orange flavor to it. And then we're going to add our pistachios, but we're going to add these on top of the nuts, not inside the icing. And then 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese that's softened in the microwave, or if you leave it out at room temperature. I'm just going to mix that up. All right. That's all you got to do on the icing. The orange cranberry cookies have been in the fridge for about 30 minutes to chill before we put them in the oven. So now we're going to put them in the oven. There's about 2 inches apart, so we're going to put them in the oven for about 12 minutes. We're going to put them in for 10 on this oven just to make sure it's not too much. And then we'll check them. You just basically want the bottoms to be golden brown. Now we're getting the cookies out of the oven. They've been in there about 11 minutes. So we're going to get them out. And see, by chilling them, they don't spread and they don't get flat. And then we're going to let them cool for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to move them to the rack after 5 minutes so they don't get hard, have a hard texture. Okay, so we've let our cookies cool for about 5 minutes. We're going to transfer them to the cooling rack so that they can cool and not be too hard. That's why you take them off your baking sheet, because they're actually still cooking as they're on the baking sheet. Take them off and then just place them on the cooling rack till they cool, and then we'll be ready to put our orange cream cheese icing on. So now we have our cookies that were on the rack, and now we're going to add our icing to it. So we're just going to spoon on a little bit of icing on each cookie. This is orange cream cheese icing. I'm going to spread it around and put some, we're going to use cinnamon pistachio nuts since that's what we use inside the cookies. You can use walnuts, whatever kind you want. You really want to take about a teaspoon. Spread them around. Put your walnuts on, and that's all there is to the cookies. Orange cranberry cookies with, these are pistachio, cinnamon pistachio nuts is what I use. Now we're going to taste test our orange cranberry cookies that's got the cinnamon pistachio nuts on them. We're going to taste test them. Then we put them in the cooling rack for 5 minutes, just to cool, and then we added the icing, the orange icing. Yep, by cooling them on the cooling rack after 5 minutes of coming out of the oven, they're not as hard, and that's the key to putting them on the cooling rack. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, click like, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching the Culinary Command Post.